This is very peaceful. I honestly like this set.
Maybe we should just do this every time.
Yeah. It actually might help our vibe, our karma.
Yeah. I think our karma.
Asking our ancestors for help before recording every episode.
I mean, however, we are going to get canceled for doing anything related to Chinese ancestor worship because we're both white.
Yeah.
So I think we need to get some sage and we can like cancel bait people into try and cancel us. And then you can be like,
I'll be actually,
I'm Native American.
It's a really good like move on my part.
It's
such
an online power move. It's like, oh, you thought I was white? oh, I'm a little embarrassed for you.
Yeah, it's a flex. I mean, honestly, like our name, Hell Money, is kind of cultural appropriation.
For sure. Yeah. There's
cultural appreciation.
It's cultural appreciation. That's right. Yeah.
Welcome back.
Yeah. To the pod.
To the pod.
So this is kind of like, I feel like this is a very much like a big reveal.
Big reveal?
Yeah. Of like, well, we're named Hell Money. Mm-hmm. Like, why are we named Hell Money?
That's a good question.
Did we talk about that at all?
No.
Yeah. So this is Hell Money right here. Here you can have.
I found that at like a hipster witchy store when we were in Austin. Each one of these was 10 cents. So I got a stack.
And didn't you find it like randomly? Like you just lucked onto it?
Yeah. Diane was just like, do you want to go in here? And I was like, yeah. There was literally like a sign on the outside that was like, life's a witch and then you fly. And I was like, that's like live, laugh, love for people like me.
Yeah.
So we went in and then I saw these in a bowl and I was like, Hell Money. Of course I have to buy it.
Yep.
So now we have this as a prop.
You see this in like a lot of weird like novelty goods stores like you saw them, but the interesting thing is that they're actually kind of diverted from their real purpose. Like they're made for another purpose and Americans just go, oh, look, that's cute. It says Bank of Hell and it's got weird, like, Chinese characters on it. But the real purpose is used in Chinese ancestor worship.
Okay.
And I know that you know this, but this is, for the benefit of everybody listening at home.
Everyone who's so curious.
Incredibly curious. Yeah. So Hell Money is, so there's a, you often see it when you go to like a Chinese restaurant or a temple or something. You'll see like a little shrine, usually have like incense or some fruit or something. And they're offerings to recently and not so recently departed ancestors to help them in the underworld.
Right. So you would burn Hell Money so that they have some money to like buy their stuff.
We haven't gotten to the money. We just talked about the fruit and the incense and stuff. So, and then there's also this tradition of what's called joss paper, which is basically making pieces of paper that represent goods and objects that are useful to the dead and then burning it as a way of sort of transporting those objects.
So you could do you could have like a fashion magazine. You could like cut out pieces from like a fashion magazine and like burn it for your fashionable ancestor.
Yep. And in fact,
would be like an example.
Yeah. And you see this joss paper that's like, it'll be like it's just a piece of paper, like a piece of like construction paper. And it'll have like a picture of like a comb and like scissors and like all this like just day-to-day useful stuff.
They need it.
Yeah. They cut their dead hair.
Yeah.
And so then of course, a traditional form of joss paper is like representing money or representing gold. And then I don't know when it happened. I mean, I guess it happened at some time, around the same time that the dollar started to be ascendant, that they started making joss paper as in the form or similar to US dollars or other sort of forms of like internationally recognized paper money. And so then they created these notes like these started to become popular, and essentially due to, as I understand it, a mistranslation, they wound up being called like Bank of Hell, Hell dollars, Hell notes.
Yeah, this says Hell Bank note.
Yeah. But really it's just the word that they're translating hell into really just kind of means like underworld or afterlife.
Yeah.
It's kind of just a weird mistranslation, like whoever was translating it didn't
underworld.
realize.
I feel like we don't, like in Western whatever Christianity culture, we don't have like an underworld that's not hell.
Yeah, I mean we sort of have purgatory.
That's true.
But purgatory,
that's not even really what this is about either.
No, and purgatory is bad too. Yeah. You have to spend more time in purgatory the worse you were on earth.
Do you believe in hell?
No, I don't. I don't believe in any sort of afterlife.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes me miserable. I wish I believed in an afterlife. Absolutely. Life would be great. I think all the time, like, yeah, man, I really wish that there was like somewhere
wish you had some damn cope.
Yeah. I need this cope. Yeah.
I don't believe in hell.
No, okay. That's good.
I don't know. Whatever. Hell is on earth sometimes.
True.
So, spiritually speaking, hell's everywhere.
So, and this guy on it, I think he's like the king of the underworld or something.
Okay.
Yeah. And so the appropriate thing to do with hell money is to burn it.
You burn it.
Yeah.
So that you can give it to your ancestors.
Yep. That's right. I don't know. My Uncle Bruce died a few years ago.
Okay.
Like he could use some cash in the underworld.
Okay.
So I'm burning it for Uncle Bruce.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. He was a great guy, totally insane. I think I told you that he shunned Western medicine. And at one point we had like termites in my home, and he told my dad that he could rid the house of termites if my dad, like remotely, if my dad sent him a sample of his toenails. Like they were like the termites were attracted to some vibration in the toenails, and using the toenails he could like remotely purge the house of the termites.
Did it work?
I don't think my dad ever actually sent him the toenails.
That was his mistake.
Yeah.
Do you want to burn it for me since I'm holding the?
No, you got to burn it.
Okay.
I'll hold the
You'll do the lighter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone in particular?
Yeah, let's do it for my grandfather, my Native American grandfather.
Tell me about him.
So he died like a year before COVID, which was honestly good because he was like fully nomadic, did not live anywhere for the last 10 years of his life. And I just can't even imagine how stressful that would have been for everyone in the family to have to deal with like being like, where the fuck is he?
Yeah, right.
But yeah, he was an incredible man. And he went out on like his own terms. He was like, my kidneys are failing. I can do dialysis and get a kidney transplant. Or you know what? I can just like eat steaks for the next week and say goodbye to all my loved ones and just fucking die.
Wow.
It was really dope.
That's legit.
It was incredibly
really
respectable. And so everyone just got a chance to like come to his bedside and like say their goodbyes and do it. He got to do it his way. Cause he was like, I don't want to be bound to some place or like be like bedridden for the rest of my life. Like I like my lifestyle. And if I can't have my lifestyle, I'm out.
Yeah.
Dope.
I think that's an incredibly like rational, like together thing. I think ultimately the fear of death is a bit irrational. It's not irrational, but it's just kind of programmed into us.
Yeah.
You know? And so being able to be like, okay, I'm going to make trade-offs that maybe make me die sooner, but have a better life while I'm here are kind of noble and are kind of very intelligent.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also like a way to be at peace with death because you kind of fully get a chance to accept it. Like, honestly, it kind of feels like the best way to die, to be like, I'm choosing to die as opposed to do whatever else. Yeah. And, you know, he just got to get like pain meds and like not have to like, you know, just was able to die in his sleep and whatever. And it was cute. Yeah. It was very cool. Yeah. So, you know, hell money for him. Yeah.
So the sort of there's interesting thing about hell money and like parallels to the fiat world, which is that, and this is entirely, so I wish I had some old hell money, like from the 60s or something when it first was like developed, but I assume that it just had like smaller denominations, you know, like it was like real like bills.
Yeah,
like,
because these are 10,000.
Yeah, these are 10,000.
Of whatever hell bank distributes.
Dollars. The Bank of Hell is denominated in dollars.
True. Yeah,
like who knew? Yeah. So there's essentially been inflation in hell money.
Right.
Runaway inflation. Right. We're up to $10,000 notes, and I think you can get like $1 billion or $1 trillion hell money notes on Amazon.
And we're just burning this money to send to them. We're just printing money in the underworld.
So anytime somebody, I'm getting a little nervous. We got all this smoke here. Hopefully it doesn't turn on the fire extinguishers. Whatever. It's fine. If it happens, it happens. So like every time you burn hell money, that is going to the underworld. Right. And so it's just turning on the money printer.
We're the money
underworld.
printer.
Yep. And so at first it's probably great. Like, you know, if you have some, so you're turning on the money printer and you're creating inflation in the underworld. Right. And like, think about this. Do you know what the Cantillon effect is, or the Cantillon effect?
Is that proximity to the money printer?
That's proximity to the money printer. So if you are in the underworld and you are like recently deceased, people are still burning money for you. Okay.
Yeah.
So like you're benefiting from all this inflation.
Right.
But all the people who were deceased like long ago and don't have people burning money for them on the overworld, on our world, they're just subject to runaway inflation.
Right.
They're just getting fucked. Like their hell, candy bars and their hell haircuts that they're trying to buy is
worth millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars.
This point.
Yeah. Right. I mean, we're going to burn like a cool, 100,000 in hell money, just here, and
just here right now.
Yeah. And what's your grandfather's name?
Dean.
Yeah. So Dean and Bruce are doing good. They're going to eat good tonight. Yeah. But we are fucking over the rest of the
overall macroeconomic situation.
Yeah. Who's the most recently deceased Fed chairman?
Why would I know that?
I don't know. Is it Ben Bernanke?
Sure.
Or is it Paul Volcker?
I mean, we could do it for Paul Volcker.
Yeah. So, Paul Volcker is dead. So Paul Volcker is probably down there being like, what the fuck are you guys doing? You are fucking shit up.
We have to.
Yeah. And so that's why, this came to me through a conversation with a Bitcoiner that I met before I got onto a plane at some point recently to go
to Austin,
to Austin. Yeah. And we were like riffing on this. And, one thing that struck me was that, like, why is the world so fucked up? Like, why?
Are you asking?
Yeah, I'm asking.
I don't know. Karma.
But I mean, listen, yeah, where's that karma coming from?
Probably whatever overworld, we're the underworld too.
This is what's coming from. We're burning this hell money. Okay. We're throwing the underworld into a macroeconomic
absolute chaos. Yeah.
Okay. What do you think they're doing for our karma?
Yeah. No, this is not.
The underworld is retaliating. The world is so fucked up because the underworld is retaliating for us completely
burning
fucking
all this
up.
hell money.
Yeah. For us burning up the money, causing runaway inflation. Right. And probably, additionally, like, why do we have so much inflation in the overworld? Probably as karmic revenge from the underworld for creating inflation there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we deserve it.
Yeah.
We've probably burned $100,000 right now.
At least. We're going to burn $100,000 more.
We're going to burn so much hell money until the fire alarm goes off and the sprinklers literally stop us.
Just noticing that the more completely you burn it, the less it smokes. I think it's like impartial combustion.
Yeah.
Yeah. You really want to maximize that inflation.
Well, so where does that leave like hell money as like a name and a concept?
I think it really just firmly means that, well, is Bitcoin, maybe it's.
Yeah. Cause this was a question at one point, is Bitcoin hell money?
Yeah. Or is
fiat hell money? And then does that make our podcast named after fiat or Bitcoin or like just this?
I think it's, okay. So when we can imagine like when you destroy hell money, it goes to the underworld, right? So sometimes Bitcoin is destroyed.
Sometimes ordinals are destroyed.
Bitcoin, yeah, ordinals by extension, sometimes destroyed. So, one has to imagine that when Bitcoin is destroyed, it too, travels to the underworld, right?
Right.
So the underworld probably already has a little stash of Bitcoin going on,
Yeah, just a little bit though, right?
Yep. From these like burned Bitcoin. Maybe not a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of ways that Bitcoin can be rendered unspendable.
Does that make it? Yeah. Okay. So like, how much Bitcoin do you think exists in the underworld? Can you?
Maybe I'd have to look it up, but probably at least tens of thousands of Bitcoin for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's a question, if the keys are lost, does that also go to the underworld, or does it have to be intentionally destroyed?
I feel like it has to be intentionally destroyed. Like maybe we should destroy some Bitcoin.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
as an offering to our ancestors, rather than just giving them this fiat hell.
Yeah. Yeah. We could do that. We could do that like right now.
Okay.
Actually, no, we shouldn't do that because it would dox my sats on air, which I don't want to do.
It would be pretty insane to sacrifice a rare ordinal for your ancestors.
I mean, they sure would appreciate that though, right? But anyways, if you think about what this is doing to the economy, like little bits of Bitcoin are starting to trickle into the underworld,
right?
Accidentally. And presumably those who are most savvy among the dead are starting to adopt it.
Right.
Like Hal Finney, right? Hal Finney was an early Bitcoin engineer.
He's probably just been waiting.
So he recognizes the value of the Bitcoin. So it's possible that the underworld is already, as we speak, transitioning to a Bitcoin standard.
Yeah. And they're just laughing in our face.
They're just laughing.
They're like, these idiots haven't even figured out their own hell money.
Yeah.
Let alone.
So I think that's what, I mean, I think maybe it remains ambiguous. You know, is hell money fiat the hell money that we burn as paper and send to the underworld? Or is hell money Bitcoin as the true hard
assets that we should be burning and offering?
And that probably is already, you know, a hard asset in the underworld.
I think it's also a nice like nod to the karmic nature of our economic system. You know, like hell money is kind of this recognition of like the karmic underworld, and
it's kind of a recognition of like what goes around comes around.
Exactly. You know? Exactly. So I think it's also sort of it's a nod to like the spiritual, energetic side of things that we like to talk about on this podcast.
Yeah. So so it remains ambiguous.
It remains ambiguous, you know, the light and the dark, 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on land, living between the realms. Hell money.
Yeah. Liminal. I like it.
Were we going to talk about anything else with hell money?
I don't know.
Oh, goal of the podcast?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I was listening to I was thinking that like, you know, we should have some sort of explicit goal of the podcast.
Yeah.
You know, like what is the goal of the Hell Money podcast?
What is it that we're doing here?
Yeah. What are we doing here, guys?
Have you come to a conclusion?
I want to ask you. I really like we have microphones. We can get really close to the microphone. We can really sort of whisper.
Intimate.
You know, this is called the proximity effect.
This is the proximity effect.
Erin made fun of me for calling it the proximity effect. She was like, why don't you just call it the getting close effect?
Wait, what was the money printer thing? Catalan? What was it?
I think
is it?
It's Cantillon or Cantillon.
It's kind of like that.
What do you mean?
Proximity to the mic, proximity to the money printer.
That's right. This is the Cantillon effect.
Yeah. The goal of the podcast. I feel like we each have slightly different goals because I have a different goal than you because I think we have different angles that we're coming at podcasting with. What's
your goal?
My goal is to bring the vibes to Bitcoin.
Well, why do you want to bring the vibes to Bitcoin?
Because I think Bitcoin deserves vibes. I feel like this is a way that I can like interact with the Bitcoin ecosystem. You know, I'm not like a programmer, like a dev. I'm not really like...
You write a little Python sometimes.
I read a little Python sometimes, yeah. I do.
Just need to counteract the dumb hoe narrative. Which is your narrative, to be clear.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think like, I like that, I don't know, I get to meet interesting people. And also I feel like the types of conversations that we have both together and with other people are something that there isn't much of in Bitcoin. It's like, we're a little more like philosophical and vibesy. And I like bringing that to Bitcoin because to me, Bitcoin is like the most exciting political, societal, economic, technological development of my lifetime.
Yep. Yeah.
And I want to talk about it and I want to suss things out and I want to like bring, I think like conversations and talking about ideas is how you actually like, it's how I actually learn. It's how I actually like process things. And I hope that that's kind of like what we're able to do is have conversations that make people think about things differently. Cause I also think maybe we're not bringing the kind of like classic Bitcoin maxi perspective all the time either.
Yep. Definitely.
So yeah, I don't know, just bring the vibes, bring something different, bring some philosophical, spiritual, energetic something. Yeah, that's my goal.
I think it's a great goal. Like I think a lot of people probably are maybe intimidated and like maybe if they're not devs, they don't know how they can contribute. But I think there's lots of ways that people can contribute to Bitcoin and those ways are super valuable. So like, you know, you bringing the vibes to Bitcoin, it reminds me of other people like Tommy, who's an artist at Bitcoin Magazine. He's not a dev. Like we hung out in his like, he showed me his little like art studio in the Bitcoin Magazine warehouse where he like smokes joints and draws pictures of Pepe the Frog.
That's very cute.
And he's like bringing the art to Bitcoin. We got a plane going by. I wonder what's going to happen to the audio.
They're going to come bomb us for burning all this hell money.
This actually is like odd. Like that's like I've never heard a jet like that.
What were you saying? Tommy drawing Pepes?
Yeah, Tommy's bringing the Pepes and the art to Bitcoin. A way slice at I went to a thing in Nashville last week, which was like a meetup for Bitcoin meetup organizers. Since I run SF Bitcoin Devs, the monthly San Francisco Bitcoin meetup, definitely show up. Next Monday. We're going to do our next...
we're going to post this after.
Socratic seminar. Oh yeah, we're going to post this afterwards.
Yeah,
okay, next Monday.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's this dude, a way slice, that he does like beefsteaks where he will cook food for a whole bunch of Bitcoiners. And it's incredible. It's super delicious. It's an amazing time. You eat the meat with your hands. He hands out cigars in the middle. Like it's a real experience, right? And he's not a dev, and he's like really contributing.
That's bringing the vibes to Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is definitely a vibes contributor.
Yeah. So he's also bringing the vibes to Bitcoin. And so I think vibes are valuable. We need the art vibes and the beef vibes and the astrology vibes, if we're going to crush the filthy fiat aggressors.
Totally. Agreed.
And then I guess my goal is I want more people to use Bitcoin because I think Bitcoin is good. Oh, damn. That really got away from you.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that one too.
For audio listeners, we're just burning more Hell Money.
Yeah, for audio listeners, we've been burning these green Hell Money banknotes the entire time.
Yeah.
Sorry for not mentioning that earlier. I think Bitcoin is good, and so I sort of want to advance its adoption. And I think Bitcoin needs, actually, I mean, maybe my goal is to kind of bring the vibes to Bitcoin too. Like, I think Bitcoin needs art. I think Bitcoin needs culture. I think it needs like cultural cachet. I think people, if it's going to win, like those are the things that is going to win. And those are the things that are going to change the narrative from Bitcoin as just this, libertarian fever dream to Bitcoin as something fun and cool that benefits all of us.
Right.
And so I discard my own goals. I fully adopt your goals.
We're just bringing the vibes.
Bring the vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring the vibes to Bitcoin.
I feel like you're bringing the vibes in like a slightly more technically specific way, in that like you're doing more active work, tangible work.
Well, I mean, what is tangible really?
That's
I just
true.
write code.
That's true. I'm up here editing the podcast, so I guess that's also tangible labor.
Yeah, labor. Yeah, but I mean, aside from the podcast, also Ordinals is part of bringing the vibes to Bitcoin.
Exactly. Yeah,
but
that's
podcasting
what I mean.
For sure, bringing the vibes to Bitcoin. It made me think maybe we should do at least one interview each where we don't have the other person, where you talk to somebody. And then a separate interview, then I talk to somebody who's different.
Why?
Because I think you'd get totally different vibes. Like I want to see what your interview style is like when I'm not around and you're just like vibing with somebody else.
I could have someone dress up as you.
Right. You could. That's not exactly what I had in mind, but you certainly could do that.
I could just not even mention it. Just pretend that it's somebody,
Yep. Yeah, right. That's it. Not even mention that it wasn't me.
Yeah. See if anyone notices.
Yeah. I
actually was already sort of planning on doing that with Twitter Spaces, because Diane's not on Twitter, and Dee was like, we should do a Bitcoin bitches like Twitter's thing, whatever. And I was like, oh, Diane and I could join from the Hell Money account, and I could just pretend that Diane is Casey.
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah. That'd be perfect. Yeah.
But yeah, Bitcoin Vibes podcast is really the best description of what we're doing, what we're fucking doing here.
Yeah. Should we move on to the second segment of today's podcast?
Yeah, I think now that we've kind of set the ritualistic, we've opened the circle as it is. Now we can bring in the major activity.
Yep.
Which is
syncing a Bitcoin core node.
We're going to sync a Bitcoin core node for the pod.
Yeah. And it's something that I think everybody should just be aware. Oh yeah. Before we do this,
you going to screen record?
Yeah, I need to screen record so that you can do a little pop-up. Yeah.
So Casey's going to screen record, sync a Bitcoin core node, and then I'll add the video so that, everyone can see just exactly how it's done. Yep. All right. Is it going?
Yep. Yeah. Now that's screen recording. So
what is this symbol?
This is the date and this is the time.
Yeah.
The date is determined by the Earth's progression around
the sun.
The sun.
Which is why it has the sun symbol.
That's right. Yeah. And the time is determined by Earth itself's spin. And so it has the Earth symbol. Yeah.
Wow. I like that.
Yeah. So yeah, this is my terminal. This is actually kind of a sacred space. I do a lot of work in there, you know, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is pretty sacred. It feels kind of like, you know, we're like engaging with the ancestral plane with this going on here, you know?
And to be clear, there's nothing about this terminal that prevents you from, you don't need to set up your terminal to like look cool. You certainly should.
Yeah.
But you can just do this with a normal Windows machine. And what I really want to express to people and show people is like how easy it is to run a Bitcoin core node on a home computer.
Okay.
You don't really need that fast of a computer, but you should have an SSD and not like a spinning disk. And ideally you should have about 500 gigabytes of storage to save the downloaded blockchain.
Okay.
So this, I before we started, I usually have a fully sunk Bitcoin core node. But I removed the blockchain so that I could sync it for you. And I also uninstalled it so I could install it.
Okay.
So I'm on a Mac. God, I'm just really making a hash of this. I'm not used to this angle. Bitcoin. Okay, so
brew install Bitcoin.
Brew install Bitcoin. Homebrew is a Mac package manager, so you should install that first.
Okay.
It's called Homebrew. So yeah, just gonna install Bitcoin.
All right.
It's downloading. Let's see. Oh yeah, nice. I'm not connected to the internet. Let me just connect to the internet here.
Connect to the node.
Yeah. There we go.
All right.
I think I have to restart. There we go.
Okay.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah. So it's just downloading some random shit. It's got to download Boost. We've been trying to get Boost out of Bitcoin Core for a long time, but we haven't yet succeeded.
I like the manifests.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, like
Bitcoin manifests.
We got to manifest some Bitcoin up in this bitch. So now it's installing some dependencies. Installing ICU4. I don't know what that is. Installing Boost. That's like a C++ helper library. And now it's installing Bitcoin.
Amazing.
Yep. Oh, now it's, what is it doing? Upgrading 5 dependents of upgraded formulas. Now it's just updating some extra shit that it doesn't need to, but it's just doing it anyways. I hate it when it does this. You're like, I just want to install this package. I don't want to like go fucking ham upgrading everything on my system, but then it does it anyways.
Well, it's looking out for you.
Yeah.
It's doing what it thinks is best.
Yeah, right. Even if it's a little like confused.
Do you like computer personality? Or do you have like any thoughts on computer personality?
Yeah, I do like computer personality. You mean like the personality of the computer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think that there is like a lot of interesting, like there is like a personality in there. Sometimes it's obscured, but it's a very like helpful, creative, utilitarian, practical personality. And it sort of represents the best of humanity and the software artifacts that we make to do things and the way that we design our systems. And the good systems like, you know, Unix, for example, that embody good ideas tend to stick around and proliferate. And the bad systems kind of get discarded. And so as a result, I think the personality of computers is quite good.
It's fun because it's like very logical. Obviously it follows specific rules, and then that kind of makes it stupid in certain ways that are kind of charming and cute.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, I guess this is what it was trying to do.
Yep. Yep. So now we have Bitcoin.
Okay.
And so now I can run the Bitcoin D command.
Bitcoin D.
Yep. Which that stands for Bitcoin daemon. A daemon, which is spelled D-A-E-M-O-N, is really just a weird way of spelling demon. And it's something that runs in the background. So you're on your computer doing your business, you know, opening apps, and there are apps running in the background. There are daemons running on your computer.
Wow.
And we're going to launch Bitcoin D, which is just one such daemon.
It is true that anything you do in life, there's always little demons running around in the background.
Indeed. Yeah. Do you want to hit return? Do you want to do the honors? Yep. So yeah, so it's loading addresses from DNS seeds. Thank you, Wiz. Thank you, Peter Todd. Thank Luke Dashier. Thanks Jonas Schnelly. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, SIPA. So it's just getting introduced to new Bitcoin peer-to-peer nodes, finding its place on the network. And now it's downloading block headers. Block headers are only 80 bytes each. Every block has an 80-byte block header. So it's just catching up. It's just downloading the block headers. obviously we're about 50% done. So we're probably about 6 years ago. Downloading the block headers is very fast. You can download a full year's worth of block headers in no time at all. And so getting block headers is the way that you determine what the sort of longest chain is without validating it, what the heaviest chain is, the chain with the most work. And it looks like we found the chain tip. And so now we're downloading actual blocks. So these blocks are from very early in Bitcoin's history. You can see 2009.
Wow.
Yeah, we're syncing through all of the old transactions. And these blocks are very small. And so it's going very fast because early in Bitcoin's history, the blocks were almost empty.
Wow, I love going through like the time lapse like this.
Yeah.
This is beautiful.
Yeah, and you can see the progress here. And when it gets to 1, we'll be fully sunk.
Wow. Oh my gosh, think about all the rare ordinals in there.
Oh yeah, no, those are choice
yeah.
ordinals, extremely choice ordinals. Yeah. Yeah, so now we're almost at the end of 2010.
Let's see, when was my ordinal? 2016 or something like that? 2017?
Oh, the Erin Red Wing?
Ugh, just doxed me on the pod.
Oh, you can cut that out. You can bleep it out. Just bleep it out. You should just randomly bleep out things that I say and like make it mysterious. Like could he have possibly said that was like
I've thought about doing that, honestly.
You should do that. You should do that just for the lulz. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. Light me up too. All right, more Hell Money.
Yeah. This is really just accelerating the hyper Bitcoinization.
That's actually very true. We're being accelerationists right now by burning all this Hell Money.
Yeah. So it's running now, and it'll take depending on how fast your computer and how fast your internet connection is, I think it takes about a day to download.
To fully.
Yeah, I should say like if your computer's slow, it'll take longer. It'll take a few days, maybe even up to a week if you have a slow connection. Mm-hmm. But you can just let it run in the background. And the daemon will continue to work. And
so basically what it's doing is it's just downloading the entirety of like the transaction history.
Not just downloading it, but also validating it. Okay. Making sure that each transaction that needed a signature, one or more signatures, had those signatures, that the locking scripts for each transaction was satisfied, that time locks were satisfied, that no transactions created Bitcoin out of thin air, and all the other properties that must hold in order for a transaction and thus a block, and thus the chain that the block is included in to be valid.
And can you explain like why is it important for people to run nodes? Like what does it do for Bitcoin?
Right. So when you run a node and you use it to verify your own transactions, you are increasing the security of the honest chain. You are just running your own full node. Like in some cases that can help, and like not using it, just like running it on Amazon. Whatever. That's kind of like neither here nor there if it really benefits anybody. I think you should still do it just as a fun exercise. But the real power of Bitcoin is when you run your own full node and you verify your transactions with that full node, you are helping to reinforce what Bitcoin is. When, if let's say I was selling you something, like a car or something, and so I gave you the car and then you sent me a Bitcoin transaction, and then I checked with my own full node that it was accepted. One is I'm like fully self-sovereign, like I'm not trusting anybody to tell me that my transaction is accepted. But then also I'm like, if some miner or some coalition of nodes tries to change the rules of the Bitcoin network, my full node would just reject that.
Right.
And if you let's say that SegWit 2x, the hostile block size increase, the hostile hard fork back in 2017, let's say that had gone through, that they had actually done that. When you paid me, if you were paying me with SegWit 2x Bitcoin, the way that they had designed the fork, if I didn't run my full node, I might not really be able to tell. I might be using a light client or something that could be tricked into following the wrong chain. But with my own node, I just would go like, oh yeah, I didn't see that transaction. Like you didn't pay me. So I'm sort of like, I'm enforcing the rules of the network and throwing my own economic weight behind the honest, correct, secure Bitcoin network.
So it creates like decentralized consensus.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the essential activity that you do when you run a node is you check your own transactions. Did the node that I run accept the transaction that somebody said that they sent me? That's the activity. That's the activity. And what the node is doing right now, it's on a computer. This computer is called A because I just name all my computers after letters. So this is A.
It's the last ordinal.
It's the last ordinal. Yeah, that's right. Extra significance. I didn't think of that until now. So what A is doing right now is it's ripping through the blockchain and it's building what's called the UTXO set, which is the unspent transaction output set. Check out Craft Store Bitcoin, an earlier episode of...
it was our first Craft Store Bitcoin. I think so.
First Craft Store Bitcoin. Yeah. First Craft Store Bitcoin is UTXO. Second Craft Store Bitcoin is Lightning Network.
It's 420.
Oh, nice.
Blaze it?
Blaze it. Yeah. 420 blaze it. For people at home, we're lighting more Hell Money. Yeah, and the clock says 420. We really got to get a captioner or something.
Yeah. For all our fountainheads out there.
Yeah, for all our fountainheads. Oh yeah, which reminds me, if you're on Fountain, I think we haven't talked about this, but we should start reading boosts on air.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So how many boosts should we read each time?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Just send some good boosts. We'll read them to start.
Okay, to start. Yeah, send some good boosts. We'll read the good boosts.
Send some good boosts. We'll read your boosts.
Yep. And if there's too many, but I just really want to emphasize that if there's too many good boosts, then we'll prioritize the ones that pay the most sats.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah. Just really want to get capitalism to be working for us.
Yeah, right.
We really got to row in the same direction as capitalism. Yeah.
What was is it December 12th or 21st that was supposed to be the 2012 end of the world?
Oh, I don't remember.
I think it was the 21st.
Okay.
I think it was 12/21/12.
Okay, so we're almost there.
We're almost
at the Mayan end of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a little scared. Maybe this is what's going to do it. Resyncing again.
I mean, we're burning all this fucking hell money.
Yeah.
Like, we're definitely fucking up our karma right now.
What do you think Dean is buying with all the hell money?
Oh God, I don't know. Like a hat.
I know what Bruce is buying. Bruce is buying a lot of like woo, like fake non-Western medicine shit. He's buying like liniments and like ointments and like weird machines made by like crank physicists in California that like purport to like rid your house of termites. Like those machines are expensive. I went to his house in State College. Yeah.
Wow.
And he had all these like obviously super expensive like machines that had like crazy dials on them. They were obviously super expensive because they're made by cranks. Like they don't do anything. Yeah. So they've got to look expensive. Otherwise they don't really work. Oh yeah, you want to get that one a little bit more?
Yeah, we got to get this one a little bit more. This is only partially burned.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this was your State College relative.
Yeah, that's my State
beautiful.
College relative.
Yeah.
Actually, I have 2 State College relatives. Do you know that?
No.
Yeah, Bruce lived in State College, and then my grandparents lived in State College, and they were unrelated. 2 different sides of the family.
That's something about State College, man. That's where I grew up.
State College, yeah.
Oh, we're almost there.
Yeah, we're almost there.
12/19, 12/20. It's the end of the world.
Yeah.
Wow, that went really fast.
We made it. So what the A node is doing is it's building the UTXO set. And the UTXO set is the unspent transaction output set. And it allows A to determine very quickly if A's user has been paid. So the A node, my computer, is like kind of my agent, my Bitcoin core node. It's like acting on my behalf. And it's building this way that it can look up very quickly whether or not a certain output is unspent, i.e. if it's been sent and hasn't been spent yet. And so that's how you check if you've been paid. You go, is there a new UTXO with my name on it, i.e. my address, or one of my addresses that's in the UTXO set.
And anyone can see that, but then they don't know what key is affiliated with what person necessarily.
They don't know what address is affiliated with which person, and of course they don't know the private key behind every address.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all I wanted to get to with syncing the Bitcoin core node.
That was so easy.
Yeah, super easy. And I really want to remember and there's also a graphical version that you can use if you go to bitcoincore.org, I think it's called.
I like this. I'm glad that we went with this.
Yeah, this one is very aesthetic, extremely aesthetic. I actually think it's a little bit more aesthetic if you make it smaller so that the lines all line up.
Right. Yeah.
Like you go like this. Yeah. Ooh. And then they line up and it's very pleasing.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And this kind of looks like the Joy Division shirt, right? Yeah. I think it looks really good. That famous like audio lines or something, waveform. Yeah.
There's so many different t-shirt variations of that design. Like you figure something out.
That's the Helvetica of t-shirt designs.
It really is.
Yeah.
Figure out some Bitcoin merch.
Yeah. So do we have anything else for this episode or should we just cut it?
I think we should wrap it up because we have to go soon. Casey is going to go shill ordinals.
Yeah. I'm always shilling ordinals every day. ABSO, always be shilling ordinals. And
somehow like there's a worm in my brain that now has me shilling ordinals.
Yeah. Well, like, I have an intern now. Actually, I really like calling him my apprentice.
Yeah.
Also because
it's more respectable.
Yeah. And he's German. And so that like in Germany actually has a very like healthy apprenticeship system. It's very normal in Germany to get an apprenticeship for any sort of trade that you do. And I think it's a very good way. And honestly, so this is sort of my second apprentice. Liam was my first apprentice and it's working out great with Raf so far. And it was super fun and awesome with Liam. So I think if you've been doing anything for like 10 years, you should go find an apprentice. It's very fulfilling. It's very rewarding and it's great for you because you get some like motivation, you get some additional help. And then it's great for the person who is your apprentice because they get to learn the tools of the trade and just how it's done.
Yeah.
And it can be a very low key, low stress. You don't need to do it for a long period of time. You can just do like a 3-month, apprenticeship. So yeah, highly recommended.
Yeah.
And like you're angling to become the ordinals, the Aesthetic Systems, which is the Ordinals Corporation, PM, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chief Vibes Officer.
The CVO.
Yeah.
You're going to be the only woman and people are going to say, oh, she's the Chief Vagina Officer.
That was really good. Usually I don't like your like potty humor, but that one
really, that one landed. Okay, good. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little deranged from all the smoke.
Yeah, right. The smoke. Yeah, the vibes are strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy for you. Mentorship relationships are very rewarding.
Yeah, for sure.
Should we sign off?
Yeah, let's sign off.
So we
let's
can
wrap
go
it off.
shill more ordinals to people.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're up to 2013. I'll leave this syncing and I'll report in the next episode with a brief status update for my Bitcoin node.
Perfect.
Yep.
Love to hear it. Okay. Well, great.
Yep.
Short episode, but
yeah,
we just had vibes.
Good rip. A lot of vibes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. I'll see you next time.
Awesome. Bye, everybody.
Bye.